Brittney Griner, our president, made a trade. And he made a trade for, what did they call the arms dealer?
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death was
My
released.
high school nickname.
Merchant of Death was released, and Brittney Griner was released. Ramo, when you saw this headline, what did you think? What was your thoughts?
My thoughts were good for her and her family. Glad she's home. I'm sure her fans are happy. And once again, her family's happy. The WNBA's happy. Hopefully she learned a lesson not to go over there doing that shit again. Whatever.
And
Awesome.
Memphis, your thoughts on the Brittney Griner situation?
At first, I was like, they lying. Quit lying. They ain't let that girl go. Then I went and looked up, and I'm like, oh, shit, she's coming home. Cool. That's what's up, And then the swap, I'm like, folks are not going to be happy with that. That sucks, but it is what it is. But then I started to think about it a little bit more.
I don't understand that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Understand what?
The swap? Yeah. I will talk later, but I just...
That's cool. Then I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? This is a... they think they slick.
Who's they? They think
like
they
the
slick.
sort of Biden administration think they slick, because here's why I say this. They bring in, she's a black woman, and she's gay. And they need those two bases for in 2 years for whoever decides to run for the Democratic Party, But then I started thinking about it more, because that's when I started hearing about the other dude. What was his name? Andrew Whelan.
There's a Marine that's over there.
That's over there, right? So then they
For
go, why
espionage.
didn't? Yeah. So then and then you got that crowd to be like, well, why didn't they fight for
Reported
him?
espionage, and they're
And then I started thinking, I'm like, well, when did this motherfucker get locked up over there? Guess who the president was? Trump. And they didn't try to get that guy because Trump was in office. So it's like, people mad because he didn't get this guy home. But he went in when Trump was in office. Trump should have did it and not wait till Biden and fall in his lap. But I'm happy Brittney is home. And like Ramo said, hopefully she learned a lesson. And all of you out there, that just because what's good here in the United States is not good in anybody else's
They don't care what we think about.
When you in somebody else's house, and it's probably a good idea if you've never been out the United States to do a little homework on where you're going. Just saying, because you don't want to get locked up outside the country.
They don't care.
For real.
And then Tomcat, how do you feel? I know you watch a lot of Fox News. And
you preface it's not really damn, because it's like you kind of preface when you go to me every time by saying that.
When you watch,
I
watch Fox News too. I like to watch them all.
I watch all the news,
but I know that their base is a little upset that Paul Whelan didn't get to come home, the U.S. Marine veteran over there for alleged
He's been there
espionage.
a lot longer.
And there was a big outcry of, why did you bring home this basketball player that nobody knew her name until you turned her into a political pawn? And now that base is upset that we made a bad trade. Is that how you feel?
No. Let me just start by saying, you're always happy when an American comes home, but I do think he had been there a lot longer. The Biden administration says they didn't have a choice with who they brought home, but that's not true, because they had said earlier they did have a choice. Then they started saying they didn't when it was Brittney or nobody. I do think that the trade for the Merchant of Death, who she's back doing what she does best, well, so is he. He's out there getting ready to kill a bunch of people, including Americans and American soldiers.
I will say he was going to get out in 6 years, they said. So, 6 years is still another 6 years, but he would be getting out. The Merchant of Death would be out in about 6 years. 2028, they said.
Sure.
Ain't that far
wasn't
away.
he an arms dealer?
Yeah, he sold weapons of mass destruction.
You know that movie God of War with
Okay.
Nicolas Cage and Jared Leto? That movie was based off of him.
All the little kid soldiers and shit.
Yeah, that movie was based off of him.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That was a good movie, but
he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. I think it was a bad trade. Do we want her home? Yeah. I hope when she comes home now, she loves her country. This is the greatest country in the world.
I think she always has.
And maybe she was just fighting for freedom here, and I have respect for that.
She probably has a problem. Yeah.
The Biden administration got her home, and so good glad she's home.
Yeah,
But we need to get Paul Whelan home too.
No, most definitely. I think that's something we got to work out as a country.
But also think it's kind of scary because now these people, these bad actors might think they can take people who are known, who have notoriety, who are sports figures, and then try to trade them to the United States for people they want.
Yeah, I don't want this to open the floodgates.
I don't think it's going to be that because you don't have anybody.
Not to say they haven't already been doing it.
Well, like celebrity, because this country loves more than money, celebrity. And she's a celebrity, so yes, that's why people were fighting. Like making such a fuss about it, and
I think that brought attention to Paul Whelan.
It did.
So she didn't get taken. People don't even think about him.
If she would have not done what she did,
the larger lexicon.
I didn't know
because none of us knew about Paul Whelan.
Yeah, right.
So. Yes, he may still have to wait to come home, but hopefully in the long run, her being involved with him,
it'll make awareness too.
He will come home.
Sure.
Well, I can tell you this is the only trade I've ever heard, and only trade I'm familiar with when it comes to the WNBA. Because let's face it, nobody gives a shit about the WNBA.
I love this.
Yeah. Those are views of Gendry Thomas, not the rest of it here on the Outcast Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.